Early one morning, when the sun had not yet risen, 5 British boys decided to go on a fishing adventure with their canoes. They are James, Oliver, Harry, William, and Edward, each with a passion for the sea and giant fish. The canoe parted the water, gliding gently on the calm sea surface, taking them to a sea area known for many rare fish species. The fresh air of the morning and the gentle sound of waves created a peaceful scene, but the boys' excitement could not be hidden. James, who is famous for his masterful fishing skills, was the first to cast the bait. Immediately, he felt a strong pull. After a few minutes of struggling, he pulled up a giant red flounder, its bright eyes reflecting the sunrise. "Great!" James shouted, causing everyone on the canoe to cheer happily. Oliver, with many years of fishing experience, is not to be outdone. He patiently dropped the bait deeper and felt a giant grouper being hooked. Its weight forced Oliver to use all his strength to pull it up, but the satisfied smile on his face showed that the effort was not in vain. Harry and William, 2 twin brothers, saw a school of fish rushing into the water, creating big waves in the distance, but thanks to good coordination, they finally conquered this powerful fish. James and Oliver decided to tackle the question head-on, choosing a location where their experience made them ideal for fishing. After a few minutes of waiting, James felt a strong power from the beginning of the sentence. He shouted, "The swordfish is caught!" and start the fight with this powerful fish. Oliver also has no edge, he senses a similar power, and the two together begin to make money. Harry, William and Edward then concentrated on fishing for perch. They answered and waited, and before long, Harry felt a surge of power at the beginning of what he had to say. "Coffee," he shouted, and with William's help, they began to strengthen the snakefish. Edward, with yesterday's experience, also quickly caught a big fish. Joy appeared in his eyes. The fight with the fish was to buy time, but in the end all 5 boys succeeded. On the small boat they also have valuable products, such as swordfish and tuna. An angler battles a marlin that can be seen emerging from deep blue waters with fishing rods and reels in the foreground. Deep sea fishing is all about being out on open waters, usually so far away from shore that you can no longer see it. The fishing action generally takes place in waters at least 100 feet deep, with targets being big fish that live offshore. We're talking marlin, sailfish, tuna. Although these species make for a seriously exciting catch, you have to put the work in to hook them. And as is the case with all types of fishing, there's no guarantee you'll even encounter your target species on your trip. In the words of many captains, it's called fishing, not catching. Luckily, a deep-sea fishing experience can be full of excitement, learning opportunities, and unforgettable moments regardless of what you do or don't catch. Even better, there's a wealth of charters across the world that will help newbies find their feet. Two fishermen standing on the bow of a charter boat, one reeling in fish, the other taking a video of it. Below, we've delved into the definition of deep sea fishing, as well as covering common targets, the type of locations you can expect to explore, and how to prepare for your trip. Hopefully, you'll come out of it feeling like you have Hemingway's level of knowledge about the topic. Let's dive in. What is deep sea fishing? Knowing what exactly counts as deep sea fishing can be pretty confusing, especially for novice anglers. For many sport fishers, it tends to be synonymous with sport fishing or big game fishing in infographics showing the difference between offshore and deep sea fishing. The term is also sometimes used interchangeably with the term offshore fishing. So are they the same thing? In a word, not really. While it's common to head offshore when deep sea fishing, the main difference between the two is the depths of the water you'll be fishing in. Offshore describes your distance from land, while deep sea refers to your distance from the seafloor. Offshore waters are at least 9 miles from shore, reaching depths from 50 feet to a couple of hundred feet. Deep sea fishing also takes place in open blue waters with no visible shoreline, usually at least 100 feet deep. These fishing grounds often hold structures such as reefs, wrecks, and oil rigs, which big fish like to swarm around. So why does the distinction between offshore and deep sea fishing matter? Well, it can have an impact on the amount of time you'll travel for, as well as the fish you'll be targeting. But more on that later. Where will I be deep sea fishing? As we covered above, deep sea fishing is all about the depths of the water you'll be fishing in. Sounds simple, right? Well, we're going to throw a spanner into the works. Depending on where you're fishing, the distance it takes to reach waters measuring 100 plus feet deep can really differ. Cabo San Lucas Harbor with the town in the background and boats in the foreground. Along parts of Florida's Gulf Coast, such as Destin, the seafloor slopes sharply, and you can reach seriously deep waters within a few miles of shore. Head somewhere along Mexico's western shoreline such as Cabo, and you can encounter deep sea species less than a mile out where the continental shelf drops off suddenly. You can generally start deep sea fishing with minutes of departing the dock in these places. In some parts of California, however, deep sea fishing can involve journeying out to the canyons. These lie a whopping 100 miles from shore. Trips like this aren't for the faint-hearted. They involve long journeys on choppy waters, and require you to spend at least a full day at sea, as well as the distance you'll have to travel. The topography of the water you'll be fishing in can vary. In some locations, waters over 100 feet in depth house famous big game monsters that are synonymous with deep sea fishing. In other places, they're packed full of reefs and oil rigs, and you're more likely to encounter larger bottom fish. A quick note on state versus federal waters. An aerial view of a fishing boat offshore, surrounded with seagulls, with multiple anglers fishing from the boat. When deciding on your deep sea fishing charter in the US, think about whether you want to fish in state or federal waters. This will impact the type of fish you'll be able to target, the licensing you'll need, and the regulations around keeping your fish state waters. In the Gulf of Mexico, state waters extend 0 to 9 nautical miles from shore. If you What fish species will I be targeting? For many anglers, deep sea fishing is all about big game species. These are large saltwater fish that are aggressive and fight hard when hooked at the end of a line. The main aim of targeting them is purely recreational and to feel the adrenaline rush that comes with battling a deep sea creature. Deep sea fishing can also mean plumbing the depths of the ocean for bottom fish, as well as testing your skills against brutish reef fish. Two smiling anglers standing on a boat, holding a striped marlin, with water and blue skies in the background. Here's a brief rundown of some of the most popular targets. Sharks. These toothy predators are notorious around the globe, but tend to get overlooked when it comes to deep sea fishing. This is due to the strict rules and regulations around them. In some locations, like Massachusetts, deep sea fishing often involves targeting porpoise sharks off the coast. The canyons near California hold thresher sharks. Snapper. One word for you, red snapper. These fish cause a frenzy in anglers that is unmatched by almost any other species, especially when the federal fishing season hits. Why? Because this is when reds in the 20-pound range can be hooked. It's easy to see what the fuss is about. They taste great and make for excellent game action. Grouper? Often targeted on the same deep sea trips as snapper, grouper can grow to huge sizes. There's a reason one variety earned the name Goliath grouper, after all. These fish are widespread, taste great, and also provide some surprisingly excellent angling action. Think deep runs to the ocean floor and around reefs and wrecks. Many deep sea fishing targets, especially big game species, are migratory fish that inhabit different waters during different times of the year. Because of this, deep sea fishing can be a pretty seasonal sport, so familiarizing yourself with the movements of your chosen fish, and when it's available near you, is a must. This is where fishing aboard a charter comes in handy. Your captain will be able to fill you in on your target species movements.